In the heart of southeastern Nigeria, nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, lies the village of Umuagu, where the air was thick with tradition and the stories of the ancestors. The villagers revered the past, maintaining customs that had been passed down for generations, binding them to the land and the spirits. At the center of this was Ogbuefi Udo, the village's oldest elder and the guardian of its sacred rituals. One of the most important traditions was the Egwu Ndi Ichie, the song of the ancestors. Every year during the Iri Ji Ọhụrụ, the new Yam Festival, the youths of the village gathered to sing this sacred song. It was said that the song connected the people to their ancestors, ensuring good fortune, fertility for the land, and peace for the spirits. If the song was not sung, the ancestors would grow angry and misfortune would fall upon the village. But things were changing. The younger generation, once eager to learn the old ways, now felt disconnected from the traditions of their forefathers. They were drawn to the light of the city, where opportunities awaited, and the temptations of modern technology consumed their attention. Smartphones and social media had replaced the village square where elders once told stories. Many of the youths no longer believed in the power of the ancestors or the significance of the Egwu Ndi Ichie. One of these youths was Nkem, a sharp-minded young man with dreams of leaving Umuagu for good. He had already built a following online, sharing videos and stories about life in the village, blending humor with modern insights. To him, tradition was a relic of the past, something that held no meaning in a world where technology reigned supreme. One evening, as Nkem sat outside his father's compound, Elder Ogbuefi Udo called him over. Nkem, my son, the Iri Ji Ọhụrụ is coming soon, and you must prepare to lead the Egwu Ndi Ichie this year. Nkem looked at the elder with disbelief. Ogbuefi, with all due respect, no one my age cares about that anymore. The world is changing. We don't need to sing old songs for blessings. There are new ways to get ahead in life. The elder's eyes, clouded with age, but sharp with wisdom, narrowed. Do you believe that the new ways can protect this village? Can technology speak to the spirits? We owe our survival to the ancestors. Without them, we are nothing. Nkem smiled, a hint of impatience in his voice. With all the problems we face, do you really think a song will make a difference? Ogbuefi Udo sighed deeply, the weight of his years pressing down on him. You speak of the future, but the future is nothing without the past. Without the song, Nkem, Umuagu will fall into darkness. But Nkem had already tuned out. His thoughts were on the future, on the life he wanted to build in the city, far away from the traditions that felt more like shackles than blessings. As the day of the Iri Ji Ọhụrụ approached, the village buzzed with excitement. The yams had been harvested and the women prepared food while the men built the ceremonial yam barns. The elders gathered in the Obi, the central hut, to discuss the significance of the coming festival, but there was an undercurrent of unease. Many of the youths were absent, busy with their phones or jobs in the city. When the time came for the rehearsal of the Egwu Ndi Ichie, few showed up, and those who did were distracted, disinterested. They muttered the words without conviction. Their attention split between the old chants and the glow of their screens. Ogbuefi Udo watched with growing concern. The song had never been sung so poorly. The voices of the youths lacked the passion and reverence needed to honor the ancestors. Without their full commitment, the song would not reach the spirit, and the consequences would be dire. On the night before the festival, the elder had a dream. In it, he stood in the village square, but the square was empty. The baobab trees were dying, their leaves falling into the dry, cracked soil. The sky was dark, and in the distance, he heard the faint cry of the ancestors calling out to the living unheard. He woke up with a start. Drenched in sweat, the message was clear. If the song was not sung with sincerity, the ancestors would abandon Umuagu. The morning of the festival arrived, and the villagers gathered in the square. Dressed in their finest clothes, the yams were piled high, ready to be blessed, and the drums began to beat, calling the people to the center of the celebration. But something was wrong. The air was heavy, and the clouds hung low, as if the sky itself was watching, waiting. Ogbuefi Udo stood at the front, his heart heavy with dread. The youths assembled, but there was no spark in their eyes, no eagerness to carry out the tradition that had sustained their people for generations. As they began to sing, it was clear that the song lacked the strength it once had. The voices were hollow, the words spoken without belief. The drums, which had always accompanied the song, faltered as if even they sensed the emptiness of the ritual. Suddenly, the sky darkened and a powerful wind swept through the village. The baobab trees began to sway, their branches groaning under the force of the wind. The yams piled high for the festival began to topple, and the stream that ran through the village swirled, spilling over its banks. The spirits were angry. Nkem, who had been standing at the edge of the square, felt a chill run through him. He had never believed in the power of the ancestors. But now, watching the village fall into chaos, he realized how wrong he had been. The elders had always warned of this, but he had dismissed their words as superstition. Elder Ogbuefi Udo raised his hands, his voice trembling with desperation. Sing, sing with your hearts, or we are lost. But the youths, shaken by the sudden storm, struggled to regain their composure. Their voices were weak, barely audible over the howling wind. In that moment, Nkem understood the song wasn't just a tradition, it was a lifeline, a way of honoring the past to protect the future. Without it, the village had no anchor, no connection to the spirits who had watched over them for years. Nkem rushed forward, pushing through the crowd. "We have to sing," he shouted, his voice rising above the wind. "We have to honor them." The other youths looked at him, startled. For the first time, there was urgency in Nkem's voice, a sincerity they had never heard before. Together, they began to sing again, this time with a new understanding of what was at stake. Their voices, though still shaky, grew stronger with each verse, carried by the wind into the sky. As the song filled the air, the wind began to die down. The bulb of trees stopped swaying, and the floodwaters receded. The spirits, appeased by the renewed dedication of the youths, withdrew their fury, leaving the village in peace. When the final note of the Egwu Ndi Ichie faded into the night, Ogbuefi Udo turned to Nkem, his face lined with exhaustion, but also relief. "You see now," the elder said quietly, "we cannot abandon our past. The spirits are not just memories. They are part of who we are." Nkem nodded, his heart heavy with the weight of what could have been lost. "I understand now, Nanyo Ogbuefi. The future may call us forward, but we cannot forget where we come from." From that day on, the youths of Umuagu sang the Egwu Ndi Ichie song with pride, knowing that the future they hoped to build could only thrive with the blessings of the past. The moral of the last song of Umuagu is that progress and tradition can coexist, but neither should be neglected. In human terms, the story teaches us that while it is important to embrace modern advancements such as technology and new opportunities, we must also remember and respect our roots, heritage, and the values that shaped us. The past holds wisdom that can guide us in the present, and abandoning our cultural or family traditions entirely can lead to a loss of identity and purpose. The future can be built on innovation, but it thrives best when balanced with the knowledge and lessons of the past. It encourages us to find harmony between representing our history and embracing change, recognizing that each plays an essential role in shaping who we are and the communities we belong to. It's also important to honor the wisdom and lessons passed down through generations. The key is finding a balance between embracing the new and respecting the old. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching and your dedication. I am Madu Black, and this is Africa Folk Tales and Legends. If you are yet to subscribe, go ahead and hit that button and turn on notifications so you'll know right away when I drop more amazing stories. I really appreciate all your support. Quite overwhelming. It means a whole lot to me. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.